Rather, I am confident that you will get a lot of take-home messages from our session. And let me start it today with the formal welcome. Okay, don't be angry. And I will request Sunil Rajapta sir, our AMA member, to present a bouquet to Nidhi Pant. And I will request Ashish Garde, President of AMA, to present a bouquet to Mr. Sandeep Wankhede, MIT. Sir, yeah.
मेरा फोन जैसे फोटो लेते हैं.
And I will request AMA President Ashish Garde to brief about AMA, also to brief about today's rare share session, and also about small information about Nidhi Pant. Please.
Yeah, good evening. I take this opportunity to welcome you all for the 83rd AMA Rare Share. Aurangabad Management Association, it's a pretty old and young organization. Old in the sense established in 1977 by passionate entrepreneurs who wanted industry and academia to come together and interact. That's how the journey of AMA started then. And why it is young now is even after so many years we are evolving. We are conducting various initiatives wherein we invite eminent personalities from the city and from the country. So all achievers, we ensure that they come to this platform to share their journey, not only successes but also various factors which impacted their journey. While we were discussing about who should be the next AMA Rare Share speaker, since we are having this AMA Rare Share in the month of March, typically March month is 8th March is celebrated as International Women's Day. So there was a consensus amongst the AMA team that we should invite a woman entrepreneur who can share her journey, and the unanimous consensus on the name of the speaker was Nidhi Pant. Usually when we shortlist a speaker, the AMA core team takes into consideration at least 4 or 5 different names, but in her case the decision was done instantly. You will get to know why this decision was done or happened so instantly as she shares her journey. Uh, in our city, there are young achievers, and some young achievers are working very silently, not only at city level, state level, or national level, at international level. And one of such achievers is Nidhi Pant. We have shared her profile as we had extended the invitation to the potential audience. But at the same time, I will also take some time, even though she has specifically mentioned don't take too much time in introducing me, but it won't be appropriate if the speaker is not introduced properly on such platform. So we have a very amazing speaker. Nidhi Pant is she has figured in the list of Forbes 30 under 30. Very rare, what I can say, recognition, that too from a person from our city. So I request all of you to acknowledge her success. When I had requested her to share more details about her so that I am also enlightened about her achievements, the profile is really astonishing. She has managed to raise 250 crores for her company, that is S4S Technologies, where she is one of the co-founders. Achieving that kind of success at her age is unbelievable. So whichever form of fundraising you may consider, and she has excelled in all those forms of fundraising, and not only through local entities, but international entities. If I narrate the names of 3 such entities, the list is good enough to acknowledge the success she and her company has achieved. She has interacted with World Bank, very rare opportunity for organizations to deal with World Bank, but she could convince World Bank management to support their venture. She has also raised funds through United Nations, again a very rare incidence. The achievement of their company and her success is recognized even in UK. So we have such distinguished personality amongst us. I won't introduce the awards and other things which she has received, because I don't want to steal the thunder of her presentation. So we once again welcome Nidhi. Thanks for accepting our invitation at a relatively short notice, sparing your time from your extremely busy schedule. To get the date for this program, she had to check calendar. She was traveling to UK and other things. So finally, we were successful in having her here. I know in this audience also there are many women entrepreneurs equally successful as Nidhi. Natasha is also here, and others are. So I am sure we will have more rounds of women entrepreneurs sharing their journey. Last, before I conclude, she is one such speaker. When her name was announced, I got multiple requests to have this session streamed online, because those who couldn't come to this session particularly, they are watching you online as we go further. Yeah.
Thank you.
I won't come in between you and Miss Nidhi Pant. I am inviting her to. Madam.
Would you like to use podium?
No, maybe this is fine. Yes. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the warm introduction. And it's really an honor to be here. My name is Nidhi Pant, and I was born in a family of farmers. So I was born in a small village called Siari in Uttarakhand, which is from Dev Prayag, if you know, 500 kilometers upwards. My family is very privileged, comes from a very privileged background in our village. But before climate change was like a big thing, we had to migrate out of our village. It became a ghost village just because of the natural calamities that we face. So starting from floods, landslides, or any kind of other man-wildlife conflict led our family to migrate from Siari, a small village, to Bombay, Mumbai, where my father worked really hard to get a government job at Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Both my parents are physicists. My mother was one of the first physicists from Delhi, and I was very fortunate to be born in a family that values education as the only marker of success. Both my parents are PhDs in physics. One big thing while growing up, which my parents instilled, and I'm grateful to them, is this thing that we used to say at home, which is we rise by lifting others. All our family is back in Uttarakhand and has been facing some or the other livelihood-related challenges or job-related issues or just farming. We have like very, very good orange, Valencia orange farms, but unfortunately farming is also not viable. So my parents have been very, growing up I've seen my parents actually finding whatever they could do for people of our extended family or people of Uttarakhand. So I think from a very young age, I had seen my parents always giving back to the society, and that was something that stayed with me. But also growing up in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, which is Anushakti Nagar, I would like to say it has produced stalwarts starting from Surya Kumar Yadav, who used to be my neighbor. I used to learn Casio piano from Shreya Ghoshal's mother. Many bureaucrats. I was very privileged that my father worked really hard for 3 years and struggled. I still remember that we used to stay in a small chawl in Goregaon. When we first moved, I was 6 years old. My longest memories are in a chawl in Malad, and my father had a friend. I saw this in my father, that he had a friend who was already placed in Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and my father then completed his master's, prepared for BARC, and then my sister was also born. And my mother was at that point of time taking tuitions and supporting the family. So I'm very grateful to my father to actually take that leap for us, where he helped us actually move out of poverty, and that too as a gazetted scientific officer. He was getting a lot of positions that were administrative positions, but I've seen that he always wanted to be a scientific officer, and he worked hard for it. So growing up in Anushakti Nagar, which is a hyper-competitive world, I think I grew up very, very insecure. I got 93% in my boards, but I was still having a rank of 300. I was like rank 300 in my colony. And my parents were so embarrassed. I used to see them every day that they struggled, that, every time there is a phone that is ringing, they don't want to answer the phone call because everyone's asking, kitne marks aaye, what are you going to do? And since class 8th, they put me and in Anushakti Nagar, everyone prepares for IIT JEE or medicine a little less. And people say things like, IIT के अलावा हमको और कोई college पता नहीं है. IIT is the only college we know. From grade 8, I was studying for IIT, and I think the first year I gave my IIT attempt, I had 8,000 rank, through which I got paper and pulp at IIT Roorkee. But my parents wanted me to repeat. They were like, no, we have to get to the best education institute. And the next year I got even lesser rank. I could not even qualify. And through that I then did MHCET, and through that I got admission at UD Institute of Chemical Technology, where I studied chemical engineering. I think one thing while growing up, my parents never gave me a choice of what I wanted to pursue. They knew that जो भी करना है अभी engineering के बाद ही करना है. So I think when I actually landed up at UD it was the first. I never even saw Bombay the same way, because everything in Anushakti Nagar is inside. You're not having any exposure to the outside world. The first thing at UD is that it was set up with the the idea that it needs to support chemical industry. It has all the streams which are related to chemical engineering, foods, pharma, textiles, and you will see all the chemical engineering world stalwarts, starting from Mukesh Ambani, starting from Ambuja Cement, UPL, or any listed chemical company or small SME, you would have someone or the other from Udacity. I still remember we used to learn about NIRLEP in our economics class. And when I came to Aurangabad, I also got to know there are so many Udacity and ICT alums who have started their own organization. I think when I actually joined Udacity, for me, it was a way of freedom. I actually started exploring a lot of other things while I was at college. And I did, starting from being a sales girl for Red Bull, I used to earn monthly 20,000 rupees. I used to be a translator for people who came from rural Maharashtra if they wanted a paper to be written in English. I did that. I was very entrepreneurial and soon realized I was very entrepreneurial in my nature. I volunteered as media relations head at Aam Aadmi Party. I was also part of Anna Hazare movement. So when I was in college, I think I regret that I was not so much into academics, and I ended up doing a lot of other things that that was an opportunity to explore. But I soon realized in a very systematic manner that why research, development, or technical knowledge or skills is not for me. In my second year of engineering, I got DAT scholarship, which is a scholarship that pays you money to study at TU Berlin. And that I got through writing to 300 professors, cold emailing 300 professors, and I got 3 responses, and I requested them if I can get scholarship. And they said, yes, I don't have scholarship, but the other professor in the soil science department might have scholarship. So that was my first foray into agriculture, where I studied soil science at TU Berlin in Germany. I was very, I think one thing that I would really give myself a little bit credit is that I never took no for an answer. People in our college were like, okay, internships, you can do it in India, you can do it in Bombay, or it is just like a time pass. But I saw a few people at IIT Bombay who were pursuing their internships abroad. So I used to ask them that, how did you actually do that? They said that there is a code and a script that pulls out all these names of the professors from research papers and then populates their email ID, and then you got to mass email them. And I did not have the code, so I every day for 30 days decided that I'm going to write to 10 professors, and I customized that email and had a success rate of 1% where 3 professors replied. So I think none of this adds up while I was doing all of this, but when I reflect back, I do think that I was very entrepreneurial, very hungry, very ambitious in whatever I wanted to do, and I spent some time at TU Berlin, which was very, very education-wise. I understood that what we lacked or where we started from and the level. I think it was just a good test for me on where I stand in terms of the knowledge that I have. And in the same year, when I was at TU Berlin, I was in one of such seminars, listening to a professor from Japan. And after the lecture, I went to him and said that, oh, this is a very interesting topic. Is it possible to do an internship with you next year? And he said that, write back to me, let me see if I have some opportunity. And I wrote back, and then I got like my second internship at Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology, and a professor who was a Nobel laureate, but he did not take me, but he directed me to the right person. So I think when I look back and see, and all of this adding up to my entrepreneurial journey, I think only one thing stands out, which is that I'm always trying, I'm always finding a leverage through which I can actually reach out to people and just try, even if that means failing 1,000 times, and maybe I like to call it now I always increased my surface area of serendipity, which is that something or the other, you keep trying 10 different times and something or the other works. And in Japan, the Nobel laureate that I worked with, he was such a nice person and which had great worldviews. And he told me this thing that, what do you want to do next? I said, I don't know, maybe get a job. I want to be financially secure. I want to go for masters. And then he gave me this very good analogy of this movie that still I remember, of this movie called Matrix, where he said that, you just have to be the person who gets the job done. And for the longest time, I could not understand what it means. And then there was also a valedictory speech that I was hearing of Preet Bharara, who's one of the other things, the way I have learned in all of these things is also to, I feel there are mentors around the world. So watching all these commencement addresses or speeches of people at Harvard or Stanford, I saw that Preet Bharara quoted the same thing, and I definitely, that's why my life is very serendipitous. 3 years after that, my internship, he said something called, nothing else matters but doing your job and doing it well every day, even if no one is watching, even if it's below your God-given talent, your brand name schooling. It just means that you are the person that we can depend on. You are the person who we rely on, and that is something that really stayed with me. And that's why I'm very, very grateful to people I have met very early in my life who gave me a lot of like no traditional gyan, which means that go and do masters, go and do PhD, go get a job. But they gave me a lot of life lessons, and somehow or the other, I again use this word that I was very porous. I was just like a sponge. Whatever they were trying to give me or provide their wisdom, I was able to absorb at a very early in my career. After I graduated at Udacity, I realized that, okay, technical skills are not for me. R&D is a little slow. This is not something that interests me. And I also, in our college, we used to say there are only 3 skills. There's either technical skills, so you can be a doctor, you can be a designer, you can be an engineer, which will have all technical skills, or you would have to be a finance person that knows numbers, can solve P&L, knows the business, or you have the sales skill. So they say that any job you do, anything you pursue in your life, there is everyone is doing some way or the other a mix of these 3 things. And I was very clear that through my process of elimination, the first technical skills are not from me. And then I decided that I want to pursue finance and sales. I was again on the mission that now I want to switch from a technical know-how to finance. And I wrote to all the investment banks, JP Morgan, and randomly wrote to people on LinkedIn, went to all of these other seminars where they would be present. And just, I don't think networking is the right word, but I would say started to be curious to know if they're hiring. And I was very fortunate that after 17 interviews, they actually rejected me. I did like a lot of interviews with like China team, mid-markets team, and but I totally like did not get through. And then I decided, okay, abhi finance to nahi ho raha hai, to sales karte hai. And at that point of time, I saw that Zomato was hiring for their online orders. So I was second employee in Zomato in Bombay, where they were setting up their office, and then they took a lot of like interviews, but they saw this raw young talent in me, and they said that, okay, you are hired, but you have to do 60 conversions a day for online ordering, onboarding. I used to hate that job because that required us to network, like meet customers, not in the morning, but that job starts like actually 7 in the evening. You got to meet like all these restaurant owners who you need to form a relationship. And if you see Zomato, there is like an ad sales, like a lot of restaurants promote their thing. That is what ad sales, you have to get 4 to 5 lakh rupees from them, like make them sign on 10 post-dated checks. I'm very grateful for that. All those experiences that I had, though it was not something that I totally enjoyed. It was, you start at 7, you were back home at 1. Again, you go in the morning to the office, and the culture was bad. People were smoking, like, because the sales culture was a little bit of a shock for me, my parents were like, why are you even doing this job? This is so like, you have studied. They were so embarrassed of everything that I was doing. And then one day, this partner I had interviewed with at Bank of America JP Morgan, he was switching to Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and he was making this investment banking deal of Sun Pharma. And he said that, I'm looking for someone who can help me crunch, like be an analyst, can crunch some numbers. Will you be open to give an interview? And I got the interview, and I got that job, and I did my Zomato. I had stock options at Zomato, which today would have made me like much more money than what S4S is making. But I was not very happy with the culture at Zomato, so I left that job. I did it for 18 months, and then I switched to banking, which is Bank of America Merrill Lynch, as an investment banker, where my job was to read annual reports and crunch numbers. At the same time, in our college, I was how I met my co-founders, who today are my business partners, were that in a professor's lab, this professor was very famous for finding technologies that can help people. And there was this group of people who had come together to found something called Science for Society. I was an intern there. I used to help them write their research papers, convert like whatever their master's thesis is in from like the data that they had. I used to write papers for them, and for S4S, I used to make presentations so that they can apply for some of the grants, government grants, etc. And they were still pursuing their PhDs, and after my stint at Zomato and Bank of America Merrill Lynch, after 3 years, I was still talking to them. I did not like my job even at Bank of America Merrill Lynch because, I was made to do all this work which was not using my core talent. I somehow felt, and I felt very stuck. It was a very well-paying job. I learned a lot. I think when I learned after 18 months again, I decided to switch. And that point of time, S4S, my co-founders were also doing their PhD, and they were like exploring options, what to do. And I said that, okay, maybe I want to do my MBA, and I would just spend some time here at S4S and see what happens. I will just explore. They were also not full-time, so I was also not very serious that what are they going to do. But the organization was formed as a think tank and an R&D think tank, and there were a lot of good products that we had invented. Bottleless toilets, baby incubators, solar dryers, a bunch of things which were with this common theme of how can we use our scientific knowledge, our chemical engineering knowledge in service of people. So my role at S4S was to find the problems which my co-founders could solve using technology and can make product, and then once they have made the product, find a way to commercialize it in the market. And in 2013, in one of the, so I was also the non-technical person in the team. There were 2 of us, and it was a big team, and we never thought that it's going to be like a company or we will have shareholding, none of that. And I was very happy that I'd made some money, and I wanted to go and study business. I wanted to go for a business school in the US. And somehow in 2013, we ended up winning Dell Social Innovation Challenge and had an opportunity to meet Michael Dell in UT Austin. And this was also one of those random competitions that used to come on our college website. Professors used, and this, I had heard about this particular thing on a radio station as well. So like, okay, maybe this is interesting. And one thing led to other. We got some 60 lakh rupees. But the most catalytic thing was to meet Michael Dell, who told us that research like if you do all this research, it's not going to take you anywhere. It's not something that, if you really want to create impact, you should be an entrepreneur. That is how it will give you control over your product. You are commercializing it. This is like a small it will end up being a small project only. So in 2013 is when we actually got a little bit serious, and we said that, okay, from all this 10,000 things that we were doing, we should focus on one thing. Vaibhav, who's also the CEO of our organization, was working on this thing which is called solar dryer, which was his master's thesis. And we started evaluating like what, I was working on baby incubator, someone else was working on a waterless toilet. We evaluated what was something that can scale, that can reach more people, and we thought that solar dryer was the most simplest thing to actually scale. In healthcare, it takes time, it requires trials, it requires clinical research. So we eliminated a lot of other products, and we decided that we will sell the solar dryers that Weber was still like doing his master's thesis on, and we had something called a 100-day challenge, where we said that, okay, we are going to see if in 100 days we can convince at least 100 farmers to actually adopt to this technology. And in one of those trips, I visited Nidhi Pant here in Badnapur, and I was like, okay, this is like, you know, no one is going to buy this. They were asking 10,000 questions. I think I was very pessimistic. I was like, farmer logo ko kuch samajh mein nahi aata hai. There was this woman who actually, I met her, we were standing for our vehicle, and she was at this bus stop, and she came to me and was like, oh, आप क्या government से हैं क्या? I said, नहीं, हम लोग कुछ research करने आए हैं, क्या हो रहा है? And then we explained this concept to her. Said that, okay, you know, हम लोगों का ये prototype है. And she said, मैं बेचूंगी. And I was like, okay, ये भी ऐसे ही कुछ हवे में बोल रही है. And then she told me she sells insurance for 10 rupees. The insurance that she sells is like for 100 rupees, and she every day makes 10 rupees from it, and every day her conversion is 3 to 5, and that gives her some 50 rupee of income. And she says that if I sell this, then I can like, how much commission will you give me? And I said like, ठीक है, हम देंगे कुछ 5,000 रुपए आपको, आप बेच के तो दिखाओ. Then I went back to Bombay, and she kept on calling me, and I was absolutely, I had given up on the idea that we can at any point of time do anything with farmers. And it was very new to me, and I was reading everything, I was interacting with other agricultural startups. I think the biggest learning for me was that, you know, I had so much of my own biases. I was not even going to the field with an open heart or an open mindset. I think when I actually was narrating this, my mother told me this thing, it looks like you are not testing the technology. You have in your mind very well made the choice that this is going to fail, and you just want some more data points to do. And I had surveyed like 5,000 farmers in Nagar, Nasik, and we were in Aurangabad at that point of time. And this woman kept on calling me. And then she said that आप 7 दिन आओ, मेरे साथ रहो, and I will tell you कि ये कैसे हम दोनों मिलके figure out करते हैं कैसे बेचते हैं. When I was like thinking like my mother said, you at least have to give it a chance. You are a engineer. You should know that assumptions need to be validated. There needs to be data points for it. And then I decided to spend 3 months with her at her home at Nidhi Pant, Chayatai. And I think that was when I actually first found my purpose, and I think that actually fully changed me. She took me to the fields. I think the photo of a farmer for me for the longest time was of a male figure. When I actually started seeing who's working on the farm, I had actually coming even from a farming family, I had no exposure of agriculture. I grew up in Bombay. I had no idea how all of this operated. But staying with her, something actually shifted in me. I think the biggest thing that I saw was just her resilience and her grit. She was handicapped. Her kids don't stay with her. She was separated from her husband. She used to stay actually in a mandir ka adjacent. She was like a caretaker in mandir, and unka ghar jo tha wo side ke ek unka quarter tha, and she used to like मैं नीचे सोती थी, वो ऊपर सोती थी. And just her resilience, her perseverance, her eagerness to actually find a way out of that life. And I mean, I discovered so many things. I think I recognized that how privileged I am as a woman. I used to see all these women they're so dependent on their husbands to even move out of their village. Mobility is a big challenge. वो लोग एक ऑटो में भर के, there were like some 17 people in that auto. भर के जाते हैं, or they are traveling 2 kilometers. I think just spending those 90 days forget about what S4S wanted to do as a project, as a solar dryer. For me, I think I developed a moral compass, which I never had. I developed like a layer in me, which I never knew existed in me. I never knew that I had empathy. I just seeing their lives, and also the hope that they have, not only their challenges, they are starting at 7 a.m. in the morning, they're coming back at 7 p.m. still doing the caregiving work. I used to see that वो अपने बच्चों के लिए सबसे पहले nutritious चीज़ें देती है, अपने आप बस सब्जी भी नहीं खाती, रोटी ही खाती है. It's like a lot of those things, starting from nutrition, starting from mobility, starting from income. I think her life, for me, helped me realize that what my privilege was, and also helped me realize that how grateful I am for everything that I have, and at the same time gave me a lot of hope. And just on her, I was riding on her enthusiasm and courage, and we managed to convince 5 to 7 farmers in Nazrik Pangri to install these solar dryers, and we said this is आपको ये 12,000 रुपए में खरीदना है. And they had like some 10,000 other questions, but we managed to sell them, and they gave us 12,000 rupees. But then after some 6 months or a year's time, they all were also pressuring her कि इसका तो कोई use ही नहीं है, ये equipment क्या करेंगे हम, इससे जो ये dried produce आ रहा है उसका क्या करें हम. So that time we realized that equipment is of no use if there's no market linkage also attached. The farmer is a farmer for 60 days if they don't have like an alternate source of income. Sorry, they don't have a way to convert that productive asset into something that they can sell, something that they can earn out of it. Our whole value proposition was that you take your produce, you dehydrate it, and you use it for your own consumption. So the proposition was more about food security rather than a livelihood proposition. And yes, I think that's how I found my purpose. And then when she helped me, like getting feedback, I spent like 4 years between Nasik, Sambhajinagar, Nagpur, and Yavatmal. And then from all of this, we figured out that maybe Sambhajinagar was the best place because the model that we have, the farmers that we have were the more attention. But anyway, the story of S4S can always go on. But I think for me, the biggest learning was to find my own moral compass, my own purpose. And sometimes people ask that, what is just purpose? I think I don't have a way to define it, but I can always say that, wherever your energy is intentionally taking you, wherever your energy, I feel that energy is like whatever is keeping you motivated, I think in those 4-5 years, I don't remember I went to a movie theater. It did not matter who was getting married in my family. I just, I think I was in a very different zone, and I think my energy was like my language of my soul, and I had discovered something, and I was, following it, and I really wanted to make most of it. And I think that's where I realized that there were a few things that were important in life, which was first to be open. How is very open in my college days, to learn from people. I think I was looking down on the farmers, and I was like, okay, what can I actually learn from them? I was narcissist in my nature. I was condescending, and I just realized that, I think I was not a good human. I think this whole journey brings me also very, very closer to what I would want to be. So I think the first thing that because it's more about sharing my personal journey, it was like when I found my purpose, I also was very motivated to now, this is the mission of my life, and I wanted to make most of it. And then I just went ahead with it, whether it was figuring out the business model, whether it was raising funds, or anything that is, when we started, I never asked my co-founders what will be my equity in the business, what will be my share, how many years it will take, what will be my salary. I think I just thought that, I was doing it for myself more than I was doing for the organization. And I'm very, very lucky that early on in my life, I was able to discover what I truly value, what I truly believe in. Yeah. Yes, and I think once I had figured out that, and I wanted to now take this to a global platform, I realized that I had to invest in myself. I was also very insecure that I don't know enough, I've not been to a business school, I've not got finance degree. So I think I invested heavily on also upskilling myself. So I applied for all the fellowships, I applied for all the accelerator incubators. I think again that this whole thing about increasing the surface area of serendipity is, I think I was young, so I was not very strategic ki kahan apply karna hai, kahan nahi apply karna hai. But I said I'll apply to everything. But I was very clear that I need to get one thing out of everything that I do. I was like, okay, this is the accelerator we will apply to. What will we get out of it? Yes, we will get access to this guy who would give us access to the other guy who would give us the access to someone else for funding. And I'm very glad that I had developed this understanding of how to use leverage, which is what can lead you where. And I applied for this UNIDO program, UN Women program, and somehow I think it was just, I was very delusional. Everyone said that a lot of things would not happen because when you are young so you have like your raw energies, so you end up being a lot more like, no, I will get it done. And in one of these accelerator incubators, I got funding from UN Women, and they said, this is exactly what we want to do. This is exactly where our mission lies, and we got like some 2 crores funding. And then, again, one thing leads to the other. How in TU Berlin, when I was studying, I got like an internship in Japan. The same way, once I was in the program with UN Women, I could make like a playbook that how is this getting converted? That, okay, first accelerator incubator hai, वहाँ पे बस ज्ञान लेना होता है, and then they'll give you access to some mentors. These mentors are on the board of these venture funds. Then the other is that, okay, these like every accelerator, or if you are in whatever sector you have, there are like some things that you can figure out which are your stepping stones to the end goal. And at that point of time, there was a lot of, Uber was raining money, Zomato was raising money, and all of that was happening. I realized that if we want to scale, we have to get all pools of capital, whether it's equity, whether it's debt, or whether it is grant. Grant is like free money. And in this process, S4S also, in S4S our model works this way, which is that we help farmers become processors. So we help them set up small manufacturing units. We start with dehydrators, but now we do different types of grain millings, solar chillers, everything that requires renewable energy so that they can earn an assured additional income. So we help farmers get equipment, and the financing has to be done by the bank, which means that the farmers don't have surplus income to invest in the assets. These women are new to credit. They don't have any land holding. They don't have any bank accounts. Most of them come from marginal, their families are not believing in them that they can actually do something or run a business. So it was very important that the biggest bottleneck for us for scalability was that these women that we were working with, like we reached a scale, so just not going all over the place, but through getting like some of these UN funding, initial funding, we reached a scale of 2 to 3 crores annual turnover, and working with 200 women, specifically in Badnapur, Shelgaon, that area. And now we wanted to scale. We were like, okay, how are we going to scale? And the biggest bottleneck was that who's going to invest in these assets for these women? Then banks were the only, like grants aapko utne nahi mil sakte, grants can only take you so far. And that's when I actually moved to Aurangabad full time, because I was speaking to everyone in Bombay, at State Bank of India, at all the top officials, but I was not able to convince them that you need to invest in these women without any collateral, without having any credit history. And then they said that आप 50 women का guarantee दे दो, bank guarantee दे दो. I was like, मेरा खुद का कुछ net worth नहीं है. How do I actually guarantee for these 50 women? And then I started to fundraise again. And that's why the fundraising has just been such a constant thing in my journey, because wherever we were reaching somewhere or we thought we had something going on for us, we were stuck with capital, our business model was not working, something or the other was a challenge, but everything was a challenge regarding funds. And that's when I wrote to Michael Dell. That's when I wrote to all the people I had met in my 5 years of journey, and through all of their contribution, we were able to raise 3 crores. And we guaranteed, I said like, sir, this is on like my guarantee. If all this fails, I will work with you for, I am ready to sign a bond, and I would, pay you back in 3 years. I was very, and I think one thing that worked for me was authenticity. I think they could really see that I wanted to get it done. I was invested. I now stay in Aurangabad. I'm like, okay, I'm also very close to these women. ये लोग कहीं dryer लेके नहीं जाएंगे. अगर ये लोग लेके गए, तो I would be there. I will navigate it out. So I think the best thing that again worked for me was just being, a resourceful person and always asking for help. I think one very common thing in my journey is just asking, like knocking so many doors and being very hopeful that at least something or the other will come out of it, and really believing in the fact that there is someone who would take a bet, and that has been so consistent. I can't tell you. So many of these things are very serendipitous. I never knew how all of this gets aligned. So they gave us this 3 crores, and through this the women earned some 2-3 annual thing. And then I also discovered that this is a scalable model, and then we convinced the State Bank of India to lend to these women. I filled their subsidy applications all myself, de-risked them. They get now PMFME subsidy, they get 3% interest subvention. When we were working with microfinance, they were lending us at 31%, and वो net करके 40% आता था. So our model works this way, which is that the women invest in the assets. Then we go to these big companies called Nestle, Unilever, and we tell them that we will supply you these ingredients, and these ingredients are going to come from these farms. So the quality is not matching anytime. Right? So that was like another challenge that we faced. But the first challenge was that investing in these assets, whatever we were paying women to convert, say like an onion to an onion flakes, say we were giving them 600 rupees, out of which 50% was going to the bank, so to the microfinance. So the women said that, this is not meaningful enough for us. हम लोग को दिहाड़ी में भी 300 रुपए मिल रहा था, इसमें भी हमको 300 रुपए ही मिल रहा है. So this is and we had like a massive dropout. And again, I had guaranteed 3 crores of pool of thing. I wrote to them that give us 1 year's time, we will figure it out, we have to bring down the rate of, and all of this was happening because these assets are getting invested at 31% rate of interest, which is like the net realization is 40%, and the women are not working. And somehow, I convinced like some 20 groups of women to work properly, trained them, stayed with them, and we supplied our first consignment to Nestle. And I used that PO to go to State Bank of India here at Sidco, and I got an appointment. I was, again, I don't speak Marathi. No one thought that I could get an access to any of these bank officials. My partners were like, ये try करके भी कुछ फायदा नहीं है, हम लोग ऊपर से try करेंगे, फिर हम बैंक मैनेजर से try करेंगे, हम अपने नेटवर्क से try करेंगे, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा था. Then I decided कि अपन जाते हैं, एक बार मीटिंग तो मांगते हैं यहाँ के हेड से. So this was this guy who was some Mishra somewhere, okay, from UP or from North. Okay. And I decided that I have to pitch to him. And I started with, sir, I am from Uttarakhand. Actually, I want to actually meet you. And I just have like, and he was in the corridor and he was not giving me the appointment. He was like, "Aap kyun aaye ho? Kya karna hai aapko?" He actually had like no, and I was trying like all these types of schemes. Pitch kaise karenge? Kya bolenge unko? 10,000 different things we tried. And I finally got like, we waited till 9:30 at night, and we finally, like when he was leaving, I think unhone bahut taras kha ke he saw there was this girl who was waiting. He said, "Kya karna hai?" He gave me this time from his office to his car, and I said that, "Sir, we want these assets to be funded for these women, and we will integrate these 4-5 schemes for them." I think that somehow clicked for him, because they had targets for doing PMFME and AIF. PMFME is Prime Minister Micro Food Processing Scheme that gives 35% capital subsidy to farmers if they invest in some assets. 3 साल अगर वो काम करते हैं तो उनको 35% उनका जो लोन है वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है. And you also integrate it with AIF, which is Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. And under AIF, they are liable to give the loan at 6%. And somehow that stayed with him, and I kept on following up, and we were able to get a 2 lakh rupee like combination of assets for these farmers by convincing this really a very a guy who first took this bet on us. And so anyway, coming back, again the thing that actually worked for me was just trying everything. I had no connects, just cold call, and I feel he also saw some part of the pitch. I think I pitched some 10 things, and in that pitch only 2 things stayed with him, which was this subsidy kitna hoga. And today we do 35% of SBI's total portfolio. We have catalyzed 100 crores of funding for farmers, 10,000 women in this area, and we are also have made Maharashtra number 1 under PMFE and FME and AIF. So it's also it also gave the state a lot of awards, and the state level bankers association under AIF. So all of them started reaching out to us, can you do it in different state, can you do differently? And then from the these assets that we are able to deploy, today we are able to catalyze annually 20 to 30 crores of additional income for these women. So they earn anywhere from 40,000 to 1 lakh rupees, and we work with, and this is out of our own margins. I somehow now feel that if I had that every year, like for 10 years, that money in my bank account, I would have been maybe, buying land and maybe setting up something different. But I think the awards and the recognition, and I think all of that comes just because they felt that we are a very low margin, low profitable company still. Like we are still at a single digit 5 to 10% margin on a top line of 420 crores. But we have catalyzed this additional funding for farmers and not kept it with ourselves. So everyone started giving us a lot of awards, and I think the best thing that happened was how we were able to sell it. So every asset that we deploy of 2 lakh rupees, we are able to generate an additional income of 10 lakh rupees, and that is almost doubling down the household income for the farmer. So in all of this also, yeah, I think this is like my stay at Rekha Tai's home, and a lot of groundwork that I did. I also lost track of my health. A lot of good things happened, but a lot of bad things also happened. And I'm also like a big fan of Michael Jordan. So I like watch a lot of sports documentaries, and I think one thing that helped me be resilient, have the grit to do anything was this mindset that I had, which is like I will not give up. If I've decided something, I'm going to get it done. And this is a beautiful documentary called The Last Dance on Netflix. All of you should really watch it. And I think this, I just wanted to share this because this really stayed with me through everything that I was doing. And yes, and then, we started getting like so many of these recognitions. We met like Prince Williams. We had a documentary about us on Jio Hotstar. Ritesh Deshmukh decided to, invest in our startup, called us like for a meeting in Singapore. I can say I'm best friends with Dia Mirza today. I met Priyanka Chopra. I was able to get some funding from her. Hillary Clinton. I pitched our startup to Ratan Tata. Lot of good things, and yes, I think a few things that I think I would just want to say that worked for me was that I was very open to feedback. I was always testing myself because I was very unsure and very insecure. So I was always testing, like, how was my presentation? How was my email? What do you think people will evaluate it? Or I was also very coachable. That's why I met like very, very amazing people who were able to really shape, who really shaped me. I am very grateful that I have mentors across the world. And I have this mindset of suffering. I realize that anything that will come to me will only come if I suffer, if I work hard, I have a very scarcity-like mindset. I said, jab tak kuch na kuch, I still think that in our organization we raise this capital, but that's not the end of it. I fear that we will end up like, it's going to go, either it's going to be zero or it's going to be one. Either it's going to be super successful, list in a few years, or it will all tank. It will all go in vain because there is no pulse to this. But yes, I think another thing that helped me was I had cross-functional intelligence, which means that I studied a lot of literature, music. I was able to catch a few of these of the learnings that I saw in a very different context and apply it to my work. Just give you an example that every funder who comes to us, by the time he's leaving, we give them like a customized Aurangabad kit, which has hamper, which has like Himru. It gives them a full experience of their 5 senses. We give them glitter. We give them their customized photographs. So like these small things I was able to do to create a memory for them, so they remember us and they remember like what they saw. We don't market like what we do with our entrepreneurs too well online, etc. But we were for the funders who come, we create an experience that totally, like what I saw in those women, they are also able to see. Also, early in my life, I was able to also realize what were my triggers. So one of the biggest triggers for me has always been that we're 7 co-founders. So anytime someone wants to demean me or always wants to lower down my work or my value, they would always start with the saying, yeah, but you are like, you're 7 of us, we don't know who does what. And that used to be so, I used to get so offended by this. I was like, I can't be my individual. So every year I go through this thing that okay, I have to now be the S for S, 7 founders and कुछ personal recognition name मिलेगा. But I think I was able to realize that was a trigger for me. That I was responding like the worth is not determined by these things, but if there was something that I was insecure about, why that was happening. Yes, a few other things that have worked for us really well is compounding. We play the long game. Anything you want to do for a year versus you want to do for 5 years or 10 years, it makes a big difference in the outcome, your thought process. Playing the long game assures that you can make a lot of mistakes and still come back. Yes, and I think we are still on that journey where we want to instill the excellence mindset in our team, in our organization. We feel that if we do something, it works, but when we start to translate it to other people in our organization, it's not giving us the same effectiveness. So
we are losing out on opportunities. We are also losing out on revenue and other things. So I'm working on how I can actually instill all of this in my larger team. We are 250 people. We have 4 factories. We are putting up some greenfield projects. But that's been something that is that's been helpful. I think just for fundraise, I think a lot of sir had said like emphasis on the funding part. So we've been able to raise grant funding and awards funding, which I don't think there's any secret sauce to it. The only thing is to go through a process, which is have a database, track the database, know why you are winning something, why you are not winning. If you apply, like I do 1 grant per day. If I already do 30 grants per month and I even win 2, it's a big success for me because half of the people are not even applying, like I'm maybe just doing 2 grants. And what I also want to mention is that in this day and age, access is solved. Access is solved for everyone. You have all the resources online. You can be part of 10 accelerators. Like just being in part of these 2-3 other circles, you will have the full effect and you will have the access. And it is all about just getting it done. So for grants and fellowships and awards, I don't think there is a way out. I just applied yesterday. I did Energy Catalyst grant in London, and we had like a partnership with a London-based organization. A lot of these things is also now becoming how we can be smart enough to have partners, how can we strategically think that, I've also started making like, when we started writing cards, I have this keywords thing on our whiteboard, which is that what all do we stand for? We stand for energy access, we stand for regenerative agriculture, we stand for women empowerment, we stand for food loss reduction, we stand for what are like different fitments we can get and what are the different grants that we can leverage. So we have like this big keyword notice board that keeps on changing every year, and then CSR funders, like those are the normal way. I think the other thing is also to strategically know where to play and how to win. Where to play just helps us be more strategic now from all these domain of 100 things that we can do. Where do we have more probability? Where will we have less competition? What is unique value proposition that we have? I think these, I don't know if I should expand on some of these things, but I think this is just how we acquire any customer, right? How it's a very, I think grant writing is similar to a sales process, which is if you want to acquire a customer, you go through that pipeline. So you make a funnel, you feed the pipeline, then you say, you qualify leads, you say, okay, what is having the right fitment, doesn't have the right fitment. Then you validate whether you write to those grant makers, who's going to give you money, ये project के लिए कितना पैसा दे सकते हैं. Africa, like we started our work in Africa, so we started with Ghana. So we know that Africa के लिए ज़्यादा funding. We also follow them. Very open about it. And all of this, what it creates or what it helps us is that there's an echo chambers in these funders, etc. For the longest time, I used to feel that they know everything, but they are also like the person who's giving you money is also very insecure. He knows his thing, he has his thesis, but for him to select the 10 other organizations, if there are 10 people who are every day meeting him are going to talk about, oh, in our accelerator there is S1, oh, in our accelerator there is this. If there's an echo chamber for him and he has the, he recollects, and we call them for field visits, we do all of that, just like a sales, you get more patterns. And that's where you've left any, what you're still doing, you're still finding. So I think I learned also this second from other, apart from grant is also equity funding. We're today funded by Axel, who's the same investor who funds Swiggy, Urban Company, all the big, Axel is based out of US and they have an India office. And they're also, I think, one of the best investors. Investors are how you get married, how you marry. It's same when you're getting equity partners. So our company is 50% owned by investors and 50% owned by us. We have to give away our equity, but at the same time, for us, it was the venture world works very differently, which means that if they give you $1, in 7 to 8 years you have to give them $100. There's no, the private equity game works a little differently, which is if they give you $1, you have to return them 3 to 4 years. And private equity also takes time. So I think there's another whole gamut of things, but with Axel, how we track, like I will be very open with sharing, like how we could get Axel on board was that at that point of time, India was going through this change of deep tech, and back all the consumer startups, and suddenly everyone, there's a macro, like that. I think these are the sort of things that help you. If you're on the macro end, you are hearing that there needs to be manufacturing. Make in India is coming up. There is, they don't want to be dependent. They want to be, India should be an export-led economy. So when all of that was happening, we figured out that this is like a good opportunity कि food ingredients में या तो private equity players हैं, या तो family run businesses हैं, या तो promoter run छोटे-छोटे. There is no food ingredients company. So here we are not talking about impact, we are not talking about like any of this. We are just talking about the fact that food ingredients space में अभी तक इतने सारे acquisitions हो रहे हैं, private equity led acquisitions हो रहे हैं. There's Eastern Spices that got acquired, there's MTR got acquired by a company in Norway. So when you also read and get like a macro sense of what is happening, we said that we are going to write that. Okay. I said we will write that day that there's no venture funding that has gone in food ingredients, and we can show them how our organization can scale. And Prashant Prakash, who is a Padma Shri and very reputed investor, partner at Axel, I decided that I need a meeting with him. And how we were going to get this meeting is that I follow him on Instagram, and I know he's going to be in this unboxing Bangalore event where he's going to inaugurate his book, and he's also going to talk about his book and about Bangalore traffic and 10,000 things that he does in. And also there's a proper way you can go with an investment banker to who will reach these funds. But how do we approach it? So I decided to actually go to Bangalore for 2 months, and we decided to chase him in all these months. And found a meeting with him, and he said that come to office the next day. And I think again, serendipity. So one thing is true that you got to know your game, like you got to know the content. All of this will not happen if you don't have the content in the field. You don't know the numbers, you don't have substance, you don't have vision, you don't have strategy, you don't have execution. So all of this, I think I am very grateful that I have also great partners who give us R&D, give financial results, etc. But I think my job always comes in when we need to convince some of these people to see what we see or the vision that we buy. So for the grant funders, it is about how women we find dignity for the women. Right? We are not giving them the money. That money is something that they can earn from other things. But what this thing gives them is dignity. It gives them, they don't eat last. I think the biggest impact we saw was that women also today feel that they have right to nutrition, and they are making jewelry for them, they are buying land, a lot of those things. Right? For the grant funders, the value proposition is different. But for equity funders, how are we going to make money? I knew that Prashant, I read his book, I watched his YouTube, everything for so many hours, and I just gave him like a few very fundamental first principles thinking. I think one thing that I missed was that a lot of these funders also work on first principles basis or mental model basis. First principles in the sense that why as good as will a venture will get venture funded or will make if right now the results by a food ingredients company has already been say EBITDA into P multiple of 20, why will an S for S to 30 or why will an S for S in like 5 to 7 years? So I think we prepared that very well. We said like we are going to make our margins, first margins by operational efficiency. Then the second margins we are going to make is by food ingredients innovation. And the third margin that we are going to make is through market diversification. So just having a lot of those strategy things integrated and just refining it, getting a lot of feedback from. I have all my friends who are analysts or associates, so I would get a lot of feedback from them. Ye land ho raha hai, ye land ho raha hai, and you got to do it in like a minute because Prashant is not going to give you time more than a minute's time. So that somehow stayed with him, and I also told them like there's whole make in India and export angle that we can explore, and we will be like the largest company. That's how he gave us time, and today actually owns 20% in our organization. I think the last part of it is the debt. We are also funded by USDFC and have guarantee from FCDO, which are own taxpayer, like USDFC is the US Government Development Finance Corporation. So, जैसे US Treasury, if it lends at 5.5%, USDFC lends at 6%. So they will only take like 25 basis points of margin, and then they will lend. So and FCDO, which is the equivalent in UK, is guaranteeing us a company. It's in Ganga Nagar. They have no idea. One company, one DFI is guaranteeing other DFI. And all of this was like a 3 years process. We met some people in Washington. And all of this also happened like through a very structured process, that a 3-year process, like we said. This is the person we need to target. He was a Pakistani, and for the longest time he was not funding any projects. And then we decided how I don't reach him. So we kept on saying that we mentored a team of young girls in Pakistan who was exactly trying to do the same work. And this was through an energy catalyst again grant, and I wrote to him with that story, and I requested that girl that I will give you like whatever time you want from me, but you need to make a LinkedIn post. And she made a LinkedIn post, and I took that post and I wrote to Yasir too, like, hi Yasir, this is like I've been mentoring this organization, this is like young girls, this is like close to where you are, it would be great to explore some meeting with you. I am in Washington, and then he said yes. And then he told me like why he's not funding in India, blah 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 blah. I said, why don't you make a visit to India? The first meeting you don't ask for funding, you ask, engage there. So again a sales process. So ऐसे करते ये हमारे पास $9 million का US गवर्नमेंट का फंडिंग. So yeah, I don't have any like secret sauce or anything to do. I just think that if you just do simple basic things in a repeated manner, in the most diligent manner, in the most honest way, and also be intellectually honest. I think one thing that I learned from all the investors was that I was very intellectually honest. If we were failing in something, I told them that we were failing and we were not trying to, fake anything. We still, I do think that as far as we have ज़्यादा चीजें सही नहीं चल रही है. We have a lot to do, a lot to learn. But intellectual honesty is one of the things. Yeah, I think that's part of me. I'm very grateful that I could share this with all.
We have process after the session by the speaker. We are requesting audience to have a question. So let me start with me for the questions. Our government or Indian government rather is focusing about the development of rural economy. And I think you are seeing it rural economy very closely. So what are the 3 suggestions or 3 ideas or 3 improvement points you feel that must be implemented to develop more rural economy further?
Yes, no, thanks. Thanks for the question. I think three things I think that first can change is we have a massive credit gap, which means that those people who are poorest are getting these loans at the most highest rate of interest from the bank. They are also perceived risky by the bank, and that makes most of the businesses not viable for them. So I think the biggest gap, first thing that I would see is the credit gap, more affordable financing, more guarantee-led funds should be explored. Second thing that I would see is to energy access. The other challenge that you see is that any business to thrive in any rural economy needs electricity. Today, even the single-phase electricity or agriculture-related electricity is so unreliable in these villages. There are our government is saying everything is electrified, but you should ask them, we should all ask कि कितने घंटे reliable गाँवठान लाइट भी आता है. गाँवठान लाइट भी उनके पास 9 से 12, 6 से 9 टाइम पर ही आता है. So for any business activity to thrive, you need energy, and if the energy access is not there, you can't have any business. Third thing is I would say the people in rural, it also depends on not a better thing, but everyone's so addicted to mobile. Everyone's only being so digitally hooked up, rather than and just helping them change their mindset. That today, let's just give you an example. Today, someone came in one of our. We had year-end stock count going on, and this boy comes and says, "आधा दिन में कि मेरे को 150 रुपए दे दो, मैं चले जाऊँ." So like भाई अभी तो पूरा दिन का लेके जा रहा है. नहीं मेरा भी डेटा रिचार्ज के जितना पैसा भरना था वो मिल चुका है मेरे को. And that is why I got to go. And I don't know what to say. I think the young people, if the thinking just becomes so short-term and very addictive, I think the alcoholism probably is a challenge that we see. So the names in the family, I think if youth don't find a direction, then get addicted to stuff.
Excellent, excellent. I will go next, like before we open it for the others who are in the hall. I would like to ask you questions. Like, which was your biggest mistake or failure, and what you learned from that mistake or failure? And the other thing, question, you have achieved super success. What next for you?
Yes, I think the biggest failure was always acting out of ego. I think for my longest time, I have not been honest. So if someone is giving me feedback or someone in my team is saying something, I thought I was very, for a long period in my professional career, I could not even register it because I was not very ready to other people's ideas. I was like, I know everything. I was looking at the very beginning, so I think I had a lot to go. And yes, I think the next is, I think as far as we stay on the journey, we are still not there. Fundraise is just an input metrics. The output metrics is being profitable is 10 years from now. It's still a very fresh and new journey. As I said, for both the ways it can either be super successful or it can be over time. So I think we require 10 more years to make it as a company that would stay beyond us. Doesn't require our inputs every day.
Super. If anybody
Audience. I think whichever from when the break, whoever you went to, the change you not used to, you went and stayed 3 months in. So what was what made you go to her and stay 3 months? Was she the initiator or behind your collegian calls, or was it your urge to serve these ladies?
No, I do not have words to serve at all. I came from a very capitalistic mindset. I think it was only her. She convinced me that I should be, I can make something, we can make something. So it was only her audacity, her persistence that she wanted us to give it, to try it out, to give it a full honest shot. And I gave it a try, and I think that changed me. I think post that, over the period of years. But when I started, I had no mindset that I was scared of it. Yeah, in 3 years when I was doing sales of equipment to all the farmers, I stayed in Choraput in Odisha, I stayed in Jhansi, I stayed in Bundelkhand, like the Bundelkhand region, I stayed in Rajasthan. So I think that is ultra big. I still, that is like an input matrix. After you go and stay, if you are still, I mean, all of these areas, you have never known the language. I have never, but I have always been successful because I do think that people see the good intent in others. I think they are teaching me so much that all my biases. I never came from the fact that I need to serve anyone, but I do think in my journey I was very open to learning from others, and I do think I found my model.
Please, please.
So, your work aligns closely with government priorities, right? For farmer livelihoods, women's empowerment, food security. So, what role has government played in your company's growth so far in the deliverables that are able to deliver? Have they played any role? Can they be a role? Should they play a role? Is there a role that government can play with not just your organization, but organizations like yours that in this space to scale solutions for health?
Yes, absolutely. I think the government can play a role. So I'll just give you an example. There's a scheme called PM Kusum that is specifically for solar irrigation, in which the government offers, if a farmer buys a solar irrigation device, they offer 90% subsidy. So the toilets also were created in India or all over India. But when the government was giving 10,000, 12,000 rupees. One thing which, when we were discussing what are the things in the rural areas, apart from energy activism, is also the government mindset and the government push. If the government is giving subsidy for anything, most of the adoptability, first there is a credibility that this technology or this has been validated or there is some scope for it. Second is the adoption at the farmer level, at the rural level is immense. So at a PM Kusum level, there are 4 companies that are very clear to us and to close because that whole subsidy is a 10,000 crore subsidy. For us, when we do 100 crores, PMFM is a 10,000 crore 5-year subsidy. So the government, I think with the government, we need to know what to scale, but when and be ready for scaling and if it scales, then it scales at like a 1,000x level. I think what worked for us with the government was alignment. We called something called scheme convergence. Like today, where I can call that Smriti Irani, have access to Smriti Irani, is because when she was the Women and Child Development Minister, we had proposed that there should be scheme convergence for all women-led livelihood options, and she really liked it. There's PMFMD, there's also a local lot of scheme called CMEGP in Maharashtra. All of that, if you align, one scheme is for seed funding, one scheme is for buying asset, one scheme is for taking loan. You keep on like solving their challenge, which is like they need to disburse these funds, and we aligned in their scheme of things. There is a but you can't do something new with like we don't do anything new.
And has that been your role to align these?
Yes, scheme convergence is a Bill Gates idea. He's been doing this in Bihar and Odisha. I was very fortunate to learn that and implement that here. So we do see like a lot of these scheme convergence, which means that one person today, if I know, can in a rural setup can leverage schemes worth 8 lakh to 10 lakh rupees, which is that they if they start a ration kheti, they can get 1 lakh for infrastructure. If they do mushroom farming, or they do PM Kusum, or you have the solar rooftop that you do. So all of that, the government money that you can leverage is almost 8 to 10 lakh rupees. And if someone does that, additionality is not there. Like I'm doing it, food processing, someone else is doing ration kheti. Different people are doing it, and a lot of farmers do it. So
That's a big mystery for us. I mean, we do not.
convergence is a
She can take class
Yeah,
for
tell us how
English.
Your journey is really inspiring. As a common people, we always feel that dealing with government people, administrators, and politicians, and their contractors, is one of the toughest things that one can do in India. Is it true? And how do you manage it?
So it's so 100% true. You know, just last week I was so pissed that the administration here in Aurangabad, where we get people, we see garbage everywhere, and we people like all of these people are making appearances everywhere, and like things are solved. But the sad reality was that 2 दिन के बाद मेरे को उसी से कुछ सिग्नेचर लेने जाना था, एंड हमारा कोई लैंड क्लियरेंस आया था उसका एक सब्सिडी के लिए. I had to go to them like for a like an industry. There is as much as an active citizen, I care. There is no what you're saying is absolutely true. Just working with bureaucracy is like even what Natasha does. Like for my organization, we are not doing anything new. We are leveraging what they already have, and that has been our mindset. We don't want to create something, even for funding, right? We are not pitching the iPad or even हमारे लिए fund. We are like आपका जो भी fund है हम उसमें we will find a way to. So we are not doing the same work that you as a responsible citizen is doing. But the sad part is that we need them as much as they need us. So I think my other way to work around this is to find leverage. They need us in all this PMFME collector का sign रहता है last after. So after you have a DRP, the application, then it goes to the agriculture department, then it goes to the collector. So the collector is responsible for the target. So if I have to, so how I would work is I go to like a Ministry of Food Processing and I tell them that हमारे इतने applications pending है. Then वो call करते हैं collector. Then the collector needs, चाहे वो मुझे appointment दे भी ना रहे, right? They are also like fed up there, but they also need us because they need their targets to be filled. अभी बिहार number 1 जा रहा है, तो महाराष्ट्र needs to like Chirag Paswan needs to Bihar needs to be there. So we started like pitching this to Mantralaya, different ways in which the pull effect is there, where we find ways in which they need us, but dealing with them is, I'm totally aware of where I stand and I have to work with that ecosystem. But as individuals, it's very but leveraging, like, why JP does save the customer or the sales argument is the same, right? If they know that they have nothing to gain from us, they don't value it, they don't.
Any last question? Yes, younger. Please.
I wanted to ask 4 questions. You can answer
I can wait. You are going to be a very good businesswoman.
Do you regret anything you did? What would you have done differently? If you could tell your younger self something, what would it be? Why did you decide to do something for the nation? Do you think India's government is good? And if not, what would you like to say?
I like the last question.
Yes, I think my if I have to do something very differently would be that I would want to be secure very early in my age. I think I grew up as an insecure person. So for me, the longest time it took a lot of these awards and external validation to actually find my real voice. I was always looking for external validation. you could understand. But I was always looking like praises from other people or other people to value my work. I think I had no confidence in myself. I was always looking if my parents were proud of me or a lot of those things. I was very insecure. I grew up insecure. So if I have to change something, I hope that I become secure a little bit ahead in my life. Younger self. Yes, if I had to tell my younger self is that I thought that everyone in all the rooms had all the answers, but I think I've been in so many of rooms where I see that so many people are pretending and they are projecting as and yes, I can also see gendered about it that males know 50% of the things, but their confidence is 100%, and the women are always that data point right? Am I 1,000%? I think in countries also I see so many men walking with so much of confidence, like these analysts who used to take these calls from us, they would always act like they knew more than us. Right? Like they're so condescending in their tone, but I always thought that I do not go to IIT or I don't have like I only have bachelor's degree. I'm not enough, and I think I would tell myself that I could have also known a little bit and would have acted not. So I always shrunk myself in front of all these people. I always made myself feel smaller. That कोई IIT से आता है या कोई HBS से आता है तो ये उनको सब आता है. But even when it's happening in the room, everyone's looking at him, but he doesn't know any of the things to me. So yeah, I don't know.
Sir, can I request you to sum up? Sunil Rakata Saab is our member of the AMA.
Thank you. Mesmerizing word का मतलब क्या होता है आज पहली बार normally Ashish Bhate and MA team they conduct this but I think today they have conducted the rest of key points which I have understood and whatever technical knowledge we may have, unless you solve the problem of a woman in a basic family, if you solve a problem of a woman in a basic family, you have potential to solve the problem of 190 countries in the world. And that is what brings good forces, support the cause. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate also, and I'm also proud that Marathwada as a ICT a center coming up in Jamia, and you are alumni of ICT. Do visit Jamna chapter. My factory is roughly about 8 kilometers from Nidhi Pant. I know that in 2013 it was a peak period of drought, and what Nidhi Pant was going through that period and staying there in empowerment, getting a feel that yes, I can earn, I can add value. That I really appreciate, and using very simple टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंटरवेंशन बचपन से मैं सुनते आया हूँ कि सूर्य प्रकाश से सब्जी फ्राई होती है। शायद 50-60 साल से फिजिक्स के टीचर ने भी पढ़ाया है कि सोलर कुकर ऐसे वर्क करता है। सोलर कुकर क्या वर्क कर सकता है आज मैडम ने बताया। What really solar cooker can really, a solar dryer can really make a difference. मेरे इतने लंबे लाइफ के अंदर I have seen so many people, particularly young dynamic engineering graduate who started work but get frustrated because of the circumstances, because of the, I would say, government's attitude, and because of maybe a system in which it is very difficult to bring the change. ये सब करने का आपको perseverance मिला है, उसके लिए hats off to you. This is the biggest learning we all should have, that not to get frustrated with the work situation, and I thank AMA that on occasion of Women's Day you have really arranged this session, and I'm lucky that I got an opportunity to sum up your journey, which is, I don't think we can sum up really in few words. Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, today we are missing our two mentors of AMA. Satish Kashiwagi is abroad and Satish Tripathi sir is unwell. I wish they would have been here. They would have also appreciated today's session.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are missing them. As a one formal part, as a matter of memento, Nidhi, we are presenting you one beautiful frame of agenda case number 26. I will request AMA President to present it. And we complete formal vote of thanks in 1 minute. But before that, I really want to appreciate you, Nidhi, for three important points which I noticed. Let me deliver the lecture here. Your curiosity, absolutely, I will appreciate, which is absolutely needed. Also, your nature of connecting the dots is wonderful. I think that has created a lot of history. And also your preparation. For everything, wherever you are going, you are preparing. Here also you came with a lot of preparation. Excellent. Congratulations, we are wishing you a very best for your future. It is one of the best rare shares, I can say, absolutely undoubted. And his sum up vote of thanks in तुम्हाला काय बोलायचं? आता प्रोग्राम झाल्यानंतर विचारा तुम्ही, काही हरकत नाही. प्रोग्राम झाल्यानंतर विचारू शकता, काही इश्यू नाही. यू विल नॉट गो विदाउट आन्सर, डेफिनेटली. वेळ खूप झालेला आहे म्हणून सो थँक्यू एव्हरीवन फॉर दॅट. And thank you everyone for coming over here. Nidhi, once again, thank you. Rajita sir, thank you. MIT, thank you. And audience also. Thank you very much.
आजच्या रेअरशेअरच्या खासियत अशी आहे की उद्यमशालिनीच्या 5-6 विद्यार्थी सुद्धा त्यांच्या क्युरिओसिटीमुळे आलेले आहेत.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.